In the heart of New Orleans, during the chaotic revelry of Mardi Gras, a man named Victor Montrose nursed a quiet, burning hatred. Victor was a reclusive art collector, known for his vast collection of rare and macabre artifacts. But his pride and joy was a priceless Renaissance-era painting, stolen from him years ago by his former friend and rival, Lucien Fortune. Lucien, a flamboyant and arrogant art dealer, had humiliated Victor in front of their peers, claiming the painting as his own. Victor had bided his time, waiting for the perfect moment to exact his revenge. And tonight, under the cover of Mardi Gras, that moment had finally come. Victor spotted Lucien in the crowd, dressed in an elaborate jester costume, laughing and drinking with a group of admirers. Victor approached him, his face hidden behind a Venetian mask, and struck up a conversation. He casually mentioned that he had recently acquired a rare bottle of Amontillado sherry, one of Lucien's favorite indulgences. Lucien's eyes lit up with interest. "Amontillado? You must let me taste it," he exclaimed, his voice slurred from drink. Victor feigned reluctance. "It's late, and my collection is in a rather unconventional location. Perhaps another time." But Lucien insisted, his pride as a connoisseur overriding his better judgment. "Nonsense. I've been drinking all night, but I can still appreciate a fine sherry. Lead the way." Victor led Lucien through the crowded streets, away from the noise and into the quiet, shadowy alleys of the French Quarter. They arrived at an old, crumbling townhouse, its facade obscured by ivy. Victor unlocked the door and ushered Lucien inside. The interior was dimly lit, filled with strange artifacts and eerie paintings. Lucien laughed nervously. "You weren't kidding about unconventional. Where's this famous Amontillado?" "Downstairs," Victor replied, his voice calm but laced with menace. "In my private vault." They descended a narrow staircase into the basement, the air growing colder and damper with each step. Lucien's bravado began to waver. "This place gives me the creeps, Montrose. How do you live like this?" Victor didn't answer. Instead, he led Lucien to a hidden door, concealed behind a tapestry. Behind it was a small, stone-walled chamber, lined with shelves of dusty bottles. In the center of the room was a single wooden cask. "The Amontillado," Victor said, gesturing to the cask. "Help yourself." As Lucien bent over the cask, inspecting it with a mix of curiosity and suspicion, Victor moved silently behind him. In one swift motion, he struck Lucien over the head with a heavy object, knocking him unconscious. When Lucien awoke, he found himself chained to the wall of the chamber, his jester costume torn and bloodied. Victor stood before him, holding the stolen Renaissance painting. "Do you recognize this?" Victor asked, his voice cold and steady. Lucien's eyes widened in fear. "Montrose, please. I didn't mean to." "You humiliated me," Victor interrupted. "You stole what was mine. And now you will pay." Victor began bricking up the entrance to the chamber, using mortar and stones he had prepared in advance. Lucien screamed and begged, but Victor worked methodically, his face expressionless. As the last brick was placed, Victor stepped back and admired his handiwork. He could hear Lucien's muffled cries from behind the wall, but they grew fainter with each passing moment. Victor returned to the main floor of the townhouse, the painting in his hands. He hung it in its rightful place, a smile playing on his lips. The sound of Mardi Gras outside was a distant hum, drowned out by the silence of the house. Years later, the townhouse was sold to a new owner. During renovations, workers discovered the hidden chamber and the skeletal remains of a man dressed in tattered jester's clothes. The police were called, but no one could identify the body or explain how it had gotten there. Victor Montrose was never seen again. Some say he fled the country, while others believe he vanished into the shadows, his revenge complete. The Renaissance painting remained in the townhouse, its dark history forever intertwined with the legacy of the man who had once owned it.